Right, so we're here, Ro.
We are, mate.
Engaged Care Talent has landed.
Yep, at last.
Oh, it's been a bit of time in the making, but really glad we're here doing it. It's great.
Oh, definitely. So game on.
So look, let's just get straight into it. Let's talk about why Engaged Care Talent. Do you want to start off?
So my journey in care starts when I was 14, right? Okay. Not me being in care, but I had some last minute work experience at a place called the David Lewis Centre.
Okay.
Friend of my sister's did me a favour because I'd not organised anything. And, day one I got there and I thought this is going to be dead easy. And I was asked to escort a kid across the playing field to the classroom, holding his hand. And then I was warned, be careful because he tries to eat everything.
Oh, really?
And I was like, yeah, whatever. He tried to eat everything. He was eating fir cones. He was eating stones. He tried to eat me.
Oh my God.
And that's where it started. So I was like, it was a bit of an eye opener, but the people there were amazing. And it was the best work experience I'd ever done in my life. And it's like, I didn't go into care after that or anything like that, but I'll never forget it because it was, I understood what it was all about. Mm-hmm. I think that for me, I've since then had experience of working in the care sector as a head of resourcing, Signet Healthcare.
Yeah.
Been privy to meeting lots of different people, visiting lots of services. And the people that are involved are amazing people.
Yeah, totally.
Proper, they're real, remind me of where I grew up, and I feel really comfortable in there. And the fact that we've got not enough good people working in care to give the quality care that we need in this country, and the fact that we're all going to end up in the system. Our parents are going to end up in the system. Personally, I feel like I've always wanted a platform to do a couple of things. One is not just raise awareness of the care sector and help bring people in, but also challenge the status quo.
100%.
Because a lot of the stuff that goes on, I feel personally, has been the same for years and years, and it goes round on a loop, and it needs to change.
Yeah. And
I really hope that, doing this, we're going to help inspire that change.
Definitely. I think, though, from my perspective, actually, it's interesting you say that because how many times, time and time again, when you speak to people who are connected to care or work in care, they have that kind of, there's an origin story there, or there's a personal connection, which I think was like massively inspiring. And like, I think for me, it kind of started, I suppose like everyone, it started when we were born, in a hospital, but really for me, it's my first, I'll say, proper job was working in the NHS.
Oh, okay.
In human resources. So I did politics and I did a dissertation about the nursing labour market crisis. So that's then fast forward to then me starting my agency career, going, I'm actually working in the space of helping organisations hire talent, market to talent, and in particular in the public sector was like, wow, okay, maybe it happened by mistake, but maybe it was actually by design because I gravitated towards that kind of work. So I'm the same as well. I think, we've got to have these conversations really, because there's great stuff that's going on in the care sector, but also there are things that we can learn from outside the sector.
Without a doubt.
Hey, look, yes, it's talent acquisition, it's talent retention, but ultimately, as you say, it's about making sure we've got the right people working in organisations in health and social care to help to address what is a crisis, really. It's
Absolutely.
Fair to say it's a crisis, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's on the news all the time, isn't it? And some of the nationwide initiatives that happen are going to be the thing that solves it, and it never does, or it feels like it never does. But the fact that remains is there are enough people, enough quality people with the right attitudes, the right behaviours to have amazing careers in care, and that a lot of them just don't know it yet. So that kind of awareness piece is definitely needed, but it's needed to be done in the right way. And I think that where there's a lot of failings is getting across what it's actually really like to work in this sector, because it's pretty magical, but it's not for everyone. It's challenging, but it's worthwhile. It's really hard, but it's meaningful. Do you know what I mean? So you've got huge opportunity if you do it in the right way. And I think that, a lot of people, a lot of companies, a lot of methods that are involved, they don't necessarily do things for the right reasons. I think that a lot of it's sometimes driven by money and what you can get, rather than looking to make things sustainable and getting, the right people in and keeping them.
Yeah.
Keeping people engaged and managing them properly and treating your own staff nicely, all these kind of things that I think in creating this platform, we're going to dig right into and have some amazing conversations and, hopefully change stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It's great. We've got, we've been doing quite a bit of work on planning out the episodes and getting guests in, and we've got, for like series 1, we've got a good bunch of people. So you spoke to, is it Julius a few weeks back, didn't you?
I did. Julius from Appcast. Yeah. So he's an economist, and we just met him in an informal meeting kind of scenario, but he gave us a proper overview of the economy, UK labour market, from lots of different points of view. One of those people that is just, obviously really intelligent, but engaging, and you just want to know more. You'd love to sit there for a good couple of hours and listen to his views. And, he cuts through some of the noise, I suppose, that we're all fed, and you either believe it, ignore it, or you don't really know. And I think sometimes people like Julius probably do know.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they'll put their hands up. So I think that would be really cool.
It's really important to know the context, isn't it? I think because we're all affected by the economy, but I think particularly when you look at, health and social care, particularly as you go into what is looking like an election year, it's really important to have that kind of contextual discussion, really, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the other thing that will be very interesting in the people that we speak to is there's always twists and turns in the market. I learned that big time after COVID. People came out of COVID, everybody needed a job.
Yeah.
So my job as running a big recruitment team was suddenly very, very easy. But I knew it was a false situation. And then almost overnight it changed, and there was more jobs than there were people. One thing that's remained is finding the right people.
Yeah,
is difficult, even if we're in a recession, if we're not. But there's going to be more twists and turns in the market, whether it's changes in policy and immigration, as we were talking about before, or whether it's the national living wage going up, or the sun coming out and hospitality suddenly growing and people coming out of care into hospitality jobs. All of these things happen, and there's bound to be other things. And I just wonder if we might be able to uncover some of this and help people who are in this sector. And I suppose that's the aim of it, isn't it, really?
Absolutely. And we've got Clive from Indeed joining. I was at RecFest, which is brilliant. The guys, Jamie Leonard and the team, have done a great job of taking a recruitment conference and a festival and putting the two together.
Oh, unbelievable.
But Clive was there with Indeed talking about the NHS. I think it was the last session of the day. And actually it was a massive auditorium, a massive tent. But I think there was about 15 people in there because it was right at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And actually that I think was one of the most important discussions had on that day. No disrespect for everything else, but talking about the NHS, especially during COVID, how to do things differently, and ultimately help hire new talent who don't necessarily know about careers in the health and social care sector, and do it on a very large scale. So I just had to get involved in the podcast.
Definitely. I think from the snippets that you told me, and I'm really looking forward to that chat, is that quite often big organisations are have a bit of a reputation for things taking a long time to change. Whether it's kind of local government, NHS, or whatever, for understandable reasons. But I believe that what Clive kind of instigated was something that didn't take very long and was really important. And I suppose it just shows that it can be done. Absolutely. And I think this is kind of one of the points that I'd make is that things can change. Sometimes it's easier if they don't, and if you just do the same old thing. But doing the same old thing and crossing your fingers, hoping that something different's going to happen, is could be described as insanity.
Absolutely, so, absolutely. I think you're so right. I think also that looking outside of health and social care, I think, is really important, because otherwise we're not going to learn new things. And I think that's why. So Simon Barrow is going to be joining us as well.
Yeah.
And Simon Barrow created the concept of employer brand management back in the early 90s.
Amazing.
So had to get him in.
He's the godfather.
He's absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So that's really good because he's coming from it from like outside the sector. He definitely understands the context.
Yeah.
But it's going to be really interesting hearing from him about employer brand management and what people can do to develop their skills as a people specialist to end up leading organizations, because that kind of stuff is really important. So
and then there's loads of other people lined up in the future as well. So we've got pleasingly quite a lot of interest in this, because it's a subject that people feel passionately about, and lots of people wanting to contribute. So good idea.
Definitely. Well, look, it's engage care talent.
Yeah.
Solving the care talent crisis one conversation at a time. And it's conversation, but it was also about action as well, and things that people can go straight away and just start doing things, because as you said, it's possible to change things maybe quicker than we think. We just need the support to be able to do that, and hopefully this is what this podcast is here for. So
definitely
stuff.
And it's open, isn't it? So if people did want to steer us in a certain direction, then we are completely open to it.
Exactly, definitely.
We don't confess to know all the answers. That's why we're opening it up and inviting people in. So yeah, absolutely. Can't wait.
Let's get on with the show.
Yeah, excellent.
Awesome, so that's Engage Care Talent, and a bit of an intro about what we're all about. Really what we're about is solving the care talent crisis one conversation at a time. So if you're interested, subscribe. Please do share with your friends and your colleagues and your family, because it's early days for us, but the more that happens, the more you're feeding what we believe is going to be a really fantastic platform for the health and social care community. So let's get on with the chat.